Hello, my name is Cole Weston. Today I'm going to be presenting Big Landscape Management and the initial business model canvas that we're working with right now to get the business started. So when we look at this first one here, we're looking at the value proposition, and what we're initially thinking to focus on was intelligent resource management and combined turf and landscape care. Here in Lincoln, Nebraska, with 50 plus people who own their homes, and we're going to keep them through these channels and relationships here, and looking at charging a monthly fee. So this is kind of our initial thoughts about what we were going to be going for. When we got out and talked to people, we found out that intelligent inputs didn't really make a lot of sense. It wasn't really clear. Just a couple of words that didn't really mean anything to anybody. So we're going to change that around, but there was a positive response to combined turf and landscape care. And Lincoln is considered a saturated market for landscape businesses, but we're hoping that focus on sustainable and efficient use will set us apart. So with that in mind, people also suggested looking at businesses, rentals, housing associations, landlords, anything to kind of widen the scope of what we're looking at. Channels, most of the channels were pretty straightforward. People agreed that referrals would be important. Unsure of home show effectiveness. A lot of it came from younger people. Website's pretty much a no-brainer. Some people suggested flyers, door hangers, business cards, that kind of standard stuff to throw out there. Revenue streams, monthly fees seem to go over pretty well with most people, seem to make sense, but there was some question about maybe only mowing or only pruning, if that was a possibility. Would they be one-time charges? Maybe if you wanted to pay like for just a summer, wanted to do 4 months in the summer, and that wanted to be it. So when you take those into consideration, kind of the revised initial canvas here, we added on the business rental property, added on the flyers and door hangers possibility. Kind of kept this the same, but worded it a little differently, so that we're going to keep and get customers via the log, via explaining to them what we're doing and how it's important. And we're going to maybe get more referrals by offering bonuses to existing customers to tell their friends, tell their parents, however they want to do it. We also changed the wording here, so we got rid of that intelligent use part, and we're going for efficient use of resources here, which seems to be more known, a more quantifiable thing to talk about. Then we're also going to utilize our education but plant in the right spot, and we're going to kind of separate these out so that maybe we'll have a per job estimate. Not really sure on that, but it's something we can look into. So when we go to the other half of the canvas here, initial thoughts are that some of our key partners would be seed suppliers, equipment, maintenance. Cost structure kind of follows similar to that. We would have equipment costs, transportation costs, materials, labor. Pretty standard stuff. Resources would be our people, whatever land, kind of shop, shed thing we're working out of. Basic activities for landscape business would include mowing, pruning, planting, removal or cleanup services, advertising, customer service, all the basic things for a business. So we get out and talk about those. There was some confusion about how to determine whether something's a resource or a partner. So kind of how to explain that to some people. Irrigation companies, some should have thought of pretty easily without being told, but I forgot about them. So they are somebody that will be a key partner for us. Same for various hard materials, something like general excavating to provide rock, mulch, anything along those lines. The key activities, again, pretty straightforward. There was, again, the question of, though, how is this different, especially when combining with the value proposition? Is it really anything that's going to set this company apart from anything else? And, again, something that should have easily thought of and thrown on there would have been add fertilizer, pesticide applications. Some resources, again, wasn't really clear to some people. One that we kind of got out of a long discussion with one guy is knowledge, education. It's going to be a big resource to draw from. It'll also be something we can go back, partner with university or professors on things to figure out what's changing in the industry. Cost structure, again, not many changes here. All pretty straightforward. Some people suggested breaking it out into more detailed categories. So instead of just materials, it would be mulch, it would be plants, it would be seed, it would be any of those things. I think a lot of people there were looking at that as kind of an accounting issue as much as just a basic cost structure. So with those in mind and kind of revised here, we added in the fertilizer application, pesticide, added in irrigation companies, considering breaking this up a little bit more detail, but the cost structure is still basically the same, added in suppliers and knowledge. So when we throw everything together, we got a fairly detailed look with how the company's going to look, how it's going to react. So just some more kind of things from conversations with people. Had a lot of conversations with people at the Great Plains Nursery and Landscape Association, Nebraska Arborist Association show that was held in mid-February. A lot of people mentioned it's hard to differentiate. There's a lot of companies out there. One guy quoted I got there saying people eat up sustainable, which was interesting for me because I actually think the word's probably going to get overused and go away a little bit here over time, but for now apparently people still want to go for it. Something I thought was interesting was maybe using electric lawnmowers or alternative fuels was suggested as a way to kind of put the company out there as something different. One of the speakers at the convention pretty much said avoid men together and just go strictly for women, since they're generally over 80% of the target market anyways. A nursery that we talked to said that really you should aim for monthly payments, since that's going to mean return customers, return relationships, just a great way to build referrals and keep the business moving. Another approach that was listed was consider marketing the company, the value proposition, as a systems approach, so that everything's going to work together in your lawn. You're not going to have turf, you're not going to have shrubs, everything's going to work together, so it's going to be a more holistic approach to the landscape. But then also the thought with that is, will the 50-plus crowd pay for this? There's also mention of them being a little bit more classically oriented with bright flowers, annual flowers, and less of the native perennial plants that maybe aren't quite as showy but are a lot tougher in the landscape. And also with that, to maybe only offer total service and not fragmented at all. I actually kind of think that has some merit, so that might be something kind of addressed in the canvas later on as we think about it more, talk to more people. And build in monthly discounts, way to keep customers and also maybe get new ones. Say, hey, I got this discount for working with them for the last 6 months, you should check them out. And finally, a couple people mentioned when breaking down the audiences to find that target audience, but make sure it doesn't come at the exclusion of others. So there we go. That's Big Landscape Management. That's the canvas we're working with right now. It's bound to change in the future, but so far we've got a lot of good results, a lot of feedback, and thanks for listening.